Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to the Reel McCoy, the movie podcast that is coming to you every single week on a Saturday for your enjoyment. I am Meffistoe, and here with me is All My Feelings. Good evening to you, sir. And the movie we're discussing tonight is Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice, and I won't say the third time. Hope you've watched us last week doing Who Framed Roger Rabbit. So we announce it. We're going to do Beetlejuice this week. 1988, a year before, the same year basically that Who Framed Roger Rabbit came out. I've checked it.
Yep.
So who's in this movie? Michael Keaton, the great Michael Keaton, with another crazy role. The young and thin Alec Baldwin, the luscious and immortal Gina Davis, and Catherine O'Hara. Of course, there are, I think it's Jim Jeffries or Jason Jeffries, something. No, not Jason Jeffries.
Definitely not Jim Jeffrey. He's the Australian.
No. He's the Australian comedian. All right. And we have
Jeremy Jones, I believe is his name. He was the principal in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and he is now more recently known as being, the soliciting minors for nudes, and he's a sex predator. So not a good person.
All right. It also has like caveats from Robert Goulet, who was like a very interesting guy, and Dick Cavett. Cavett. And of course we forgot one important role, Winona Ryder. Yes, I think it's her. According to I've checked it last week, it's I think it's her third film, but her first two are like she had like a very minor role or something like that. And Heathers, which is like a very, very dark movie, came out the year after this one. And it kind of really put her on the center stage. In this one, she's more of a, I would say, supporting role.
Yes.
And
I will say that it's also funny that you mentioned that, because the person that was actually going to write originally was penned to write the sequel to Beetlejuice, which was in the works for over almost 30 years before it got shelved permanently, was the same person who wrote the screenplay for Heathers.
Really?
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah. Except for, you know what the sequel was going to be called?
Beetlejuice 2?
No. Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you something kind of screwed with everything I've prepared already. But I have a picture that popped up this week. This week. I'm not even joking. Can you see this?
Wow. Huh.
It says a Tim Burton film, and it's starring Michael Keaton.
Now, if they pulled it off the shelf recently, that is
not real, dude. That is
okay. I was
definitely
gonna say
a fake.
Yeah.
But this, literally, after we talked about this, I had it on my Twitter feed, and that is like incredible that this happened.
Yeah,
it's such a refreshing change. But yeah, this just popped in just randomly on my feed.
Yeah. Which is so funny too, because for the longest time, Tim Burton actually wanted Sammy Davis Jr. for the role of Beetlejuice.
How would that work?
Because it went to the actual adaptation in the original screenplay, because the original screenplay was way darker. There was an extra child that Beetlejuice actually mutilated.
Yikes!
Yeah, it's a really dark adaptation of it. But Beetlejuice was always supposed to be depicted as more swarthy and more almost looking more Middle Eastern, and like with a deeper complexion. So that's when it was originally written. That's how he was supposed to be depicted, and that's why Tim Burton wanted Sammy Davis Jr. for the role, and also because Sammy Davis Jr. still had that kind of swagger at the time, and he wasn't.
Yeah, but I think in '88 he was very old.
He was still pretty old, but he was still doing like lounges, and he was still doing
still hang. You mean?
Yeah, he could still do it. But I thought that was interesting.
It would be interesting to have like this sort of guy who's like, "Ooh, you funny cats."
Yeah.
I mean, most people who maybe watch this podcast was like, Sammy Davis, who?
Yeah.
Who? Yeah.
Part Sammy of the original Rat Pack. Well, not the original Rat Pack, but the Rat Pack.
The Jewish black guy. I always knew as a Jewish black guy. He's not Jewish.
Yeah.
At all.
As the other thing I wanted to add is a little small little caveat before we get deep dive into it real quick, was when they did not, the studios absolutely hated the name of the movie.
Yes, it wasn't very marketable because you have a disgusting drink in it.
Yes. Well, and then it was also the reference to a random moon.
Yeah, it's a good thing they haven't. I mean, it's a good thing that Howard Stern wasn't back in the day, because later on, Beetlejuice was kind of. Do you know who the story?
Oh yeah, I know. I know. I know. Beetlejuice.
It's a dwarf or a short, little person that had very odd dimensions. African American guy, fucked up teeth, whatever. When you type in like GIFs Beetlejuice, you have the one that I've used on my Twitter feed to announce this, plus that guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of weird, but whatever.
But the studios
to start finding information about Beetlejuice is a trip. Let's just say that.
But I was gonna say, like, the studios actually wanted to call the movie House Ghosts.
Oh, that's not good either.
It's awful. And you know what Tim Burton fired back with? What about Scared Sheetless?
Oh, that would have been great.
And the studio actually thought it was a good idea, and they almost wanted to go with it. Yeah. Yeah.
All right. We're going to get to that scene later. Anyways, so
yeah.
Let's cut to the chase. We're going to start off with the movie, and in this podcast we're going to skip a few scenes. So we're going to do some references. So don't worry. All right. So we start off with I'm going to show it on screen, and we're going to discuss this. So the Maitlands, we've got a couple. We've got the Maitlands are on their vacation, but they're vacationing in their own house. They're celebrating their anniversary.
The original staycation.
Yeah. So they're giving each other gifts, and they're trying to relax. And of course, they're being disturbed by a realtor that wants to sell their house because they're living in a big house. And we also get to see their story unfolding, because we also kind of find out that they want kids. They don't have any kids. Wow, now I forgot his name. See, I'm so bad at names. It's so bad. So Alec Baldwin's character, Adam. He said he needs something from his store. He has a hardware store. They go to the store to bring something for his like this miniature model he builds for the entire town, which comes up a lot in this movie. And when they're coming back, they're trying not to hit a dog, and they go off a bridge, and we see them fall down.
And I was just going to add there that dog has now been added to the list of asshole animals that we have now witnessed on this podcast. Joined in reverent company by Jonesy the cat.
Yes. So the nameless dog, who should not be named, has gone on the Reel McCoy's shit list of animals. Yes. And of course, we love our animals on the Reel McCoy. So don't be mistaken. I might bring the dog just to balance everything out. All right. So Maitland's coming back home. We don't see them come back home. They enter the house, and they realize something is off. Adam wants to retrace the steps, goes out. Suddenly he is in no man's land, and he gets pulled back by Gina. You were gone for hours. Yeah, Barbara.
Yeah.
He gets pulled back, and is like, look, and we have this part where he's like, do you not see this? So she takes like a little horse and puts it away. It's like there's no reflection. And of course, I'm going to do this. Well, they encounter the book.
Yes. Handbook for the recently deceased. Yes.
Deceased.
The handbook. Yes, it has to be
the handbook. Yes.
So I just wanted to throw a little side caveat there. I love the fact that Gina Davis' character immediately recognizes that something is amiss, but she has no concept of it yet. But she immediately just goes, "Yeah, I think we're dead. I don't think we survived that crash."
Yeah, something like that.
But there's no shock or horror in it. There's just this almost calm complacency that's really kind of unnerving.
The whole thing kind of feels odd to them, but it should freak them out. After up till now in the movie, well, it's 10 minutes in, we've established that it's a wholesome couple. Yeah. They have a little bit of a dark kind of thing with the no kids thing that they want.
Yeah.
But of course it comes back around at the end of the movie. And they're wholesome couples. So
it seems like a classic American
couple. Yeah, it seems like a couple that if something truly awful happen, they would totally lose it, but they're not. So yeah. All right. So we have in this movie also, we don't have really a concept of time. Really, we don't know how much time actually goes into the future. So
there are only a couple of references where they mentioned like, oh, it's been 3 months. Oh, it's been 2 months. Like when they go to later, they come back and like, oh, it's been 3 months. Of course.
And we also have the first mentions of this.
Yes.
So it's dotted around the house, and it keeps popping up until the moment they meet Beetlejuice. But the Beetlejuice guy is being thrusted upon them for the first time, and it goes on throughout the movie.
Yeah, because did he already see the ad of the new obituaries?
No, this yeah. There's
these two look like suckers.
Yeah, he goes through a paper and is I found a couple of suckers, and he goes into the obituary modes to obituary section, and is like, oh, it's the work section, or something like that. He mentioned it.
They're like, oh, I got to find a new job. that's what he called it as. Yeah.
So skipping over a few there. So they're sitting around in their attic. Adam's trying to read the book, make some sort of work at it. Like he doesn't really understand what is going on. And they see Jane, the realtor, from below. It's like he's calling her, but there's nobody there. So he's stomped. And Barbara says, look, she might not see us because we're dead. She refers to something in the book where I don't think it does it come up that the living are ignorant to what the dead are, or something like that.
That's
or
the conversation
comes up a little bit later.
Lydia later, when Lydia says they find out that Lydia can see them, and there's a reason why Lydia can't see them. Yeah.
So at a certain point, time passes. We don't know how much time. Again, we don't have any reference. They wake up. There's a part where Barbara is literally like laying down and sleeping, but she's hovering in midair. And when she wakes up, she falls.
Yep.
And they wake up, and suddenly there's new people coming into the house.
The deets.
The deets. So the father is some sort of a broker or realtor or something like that.
He's a real estate magnate of some kind. Yeah.
Yeah. Something to do with real estate in New York. They most certainly are. You're giving like a New York vibe. So yuppies from the 80s. And he's all stressed out, and he's moving to the country to relieve his stress. His wife is a artiste, I would say. Possibly not a very good one.
Given her sculptures, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, not at all.
I love this because I don't know if you ever watched the show Green Acres when you were a kid. The old black and white show from like the 50s.
I know about Green Acres, but I've never seen it.
It's basically the same kind of premise. These high-powered people that lived in New York, they move out to the country, they own a farm, and that's what it's all about. Is these two people that are completely fish out of water, but they're trying to just deal with being on a farm, and the wife is very resentful for the first few seasons of being on that farm, and that's Catherine O'Hara's character plays this brilliantly. How much she hates being out in the middle of bumfuck nowhere in Connecticut.
Yeah, the whole point, and I will shut my phone down. There we go. The whole point is, as soon as Lydia and her gay friend, I would say, he's not gay, but I don't know.
Well,
I always, you know what? I always thought Otho is gay, but he's not.
Well, not. Actually, that's they play on that during the dinner scene later, where his companion that's there goes, "Oh, paranormal investigator, is that what you're calling it now?" Where that's a wink, nudge that he's probably gay.
the whole thing is that when they go out, it's the two women and Dick Cavett, the Dick Cavett character, her Lydia's manager. When the whole dinner is out and they can't convince them it's Ghost, they leave together. She doesn't leave with Otho. So I never thought I thought she was with him when I first watched it, but then she leaves without him. So I'm guessing you never know. You don't get a lot of information, but let's say her friend, okay? Her friend, he is presented as an interior decorator, and they go through the house. And of course, there's a lovely part where she opens up the closet door and Barbara is there and she takes off her face.
Yeah.
She's
laying there hanging, and then
and then he rips her face and she, not Lydia. God damn it. Yeah. Lydia is the daughter.
Yeah.
Catherine O'Hara. She opens up the thing. She said, "Ooh," and she's like, and they take out like the groom's tuxedo and the bride's dress. Like Ozzy and
Harriet,
which is like stereotypical, like your country. Whatever,
I love the character too, how he's walking around. He has this cadre throughout the entire film where he's done all of these things where he's just a bullshit artist.
Oh yeah,
it's like, yeah, well, I was the top paranormal investigator for New York until the bottom fell out in 1972.
And there's also a reference because you meet him and all they do is like plan the house, and later on he was like, I know just as much about in the paranormal world as I do about interior design. So basically, nothing. Nothing about both.
I think it was Lydia says after that too. He goes, "So you know nothing then, right?"
I'm not sure that she said it.
Winona Ryder said that, like, there's some snarky comment she makes in reference to that later, but
I think it's before. I'm talking about a different scene. Well, maybe I'll get to that. So they get to a certain room where the husband is like, "You are not touching this room. I came here to relax. You can do whatever you want with the house. Just I need to relax." And Catherine O'Hara is fucking phenomenal in this scene where she's like, "If you don't let me gut out this house and make it my own, I will go crazy and it will take you with me." And you finish at that sentence and you look at her face and it was like, this woman is fucking crazy.
Oh yeah, she's off her rocker 100%.
Absolutely insane, and I love it. She's the like, if you put every character in a row for me, and you tell me to pick who was the most believable character, so I believe Catherine O'Hara is Mrs. Dietz, right? That I would pick her from all of them, including Michael Keaton, which has a phenomenal job, and I think she has more airtime than him in this movie.
Well, that's what I was going to bring that up. It's like, it's so funny that the film is called Beetlejuice, but the titular character is in for a very short period of time.
Yeah,
in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, you can see almost every character more in terms of screen time. Than him. I think Otho has less time. No,
Otho everybody has the same amount of time.
Everybody, like Gina Davis, Alec Baldwin, all the actors, all the main characters in this, and not including the guests, have more screen time than Michael Keaton in this movie.
Yeah, I would actually think that really they could have, we talked about, the different names of the film. They could have named this The Maitlands, and it would have made more sense because the film is really about them. It's 100% about the Maitlands.
Yeah,
it's about Barbara and Adam. It really is. So, anyway.
Yeah.
Let's continue.
I'm gonna get to that face. Oh yeah, that's a face. That is a face. I look at Otho, or whatever the name of the character is. Let's call him Otho. Yeah. It's like, what the fuck are you doing with that like tie?
It's like a shitty bolo tie. Yeah, it's like a bolo tie, but it's really big.
Yeah, it's so dumb. And it kind of gives you a clue that this guy's full of shit.
Oh yeah,
totally 100%. Full of shit. Yeah, I want to get to that point. Oh yeah. So they starting to gut out the house, right? They bring in the daughter, comes in on the day, right? She comes in, she has the veil like she's going to a funeral. She has her camera, so she's also an artiste. She is quintessential goth, like
we're talking like the Cure era. This is
the Cure era. Yes,
yeah,
it's the Cure era. Most definitely. So if you were not a punk,
you could definitely hear her listening to Depeche Mode. Like a Personal Jesus is probably one of her favorite songs.
Oh yeah. It's the Smiths. It's the Cure. It's Depeche Mode. It's the industrial emo, like
really early industrial,
really early. Yeah. It's so fitting. Like you could take that character and bring her up to like 2002, and she would like fit. She would fit in certain circles. That character is so.
Oh yeah. I was a goth in high school, so yeah. She would have fit in just like that.
I would definitely when I was in high school, that was like 1995, 6, 7. So I was goth, but if you can see me on a day-to-day, I was not wearing like black shirts and didn't have like black eyeliners. I had a regular haircut, but on the weekends, motherfucker, metal. Right, so they're starting to move the house, and there's a like, so it's so funny. They're bringing in the sculptures with a crane, and it kind of knocks off a window, and then they drop it, and it drops on what's her frickin' name? The mother,
the stepmom, Catherine Harris character.
Yeah, it drops on her. And she says, it's so interesting. It's so funny. It's like, this is my art and it is dangerous. Do you think I want to die like this?
Yeah. Delia. That's
Delia.
Dietz.
Not Lydia. Yeah. Delia. It's the opposite. It's the opposite from Lydia. Delia Dietz, which is so good. And Lydia actually gets a skeleton key from the realtor. And the realtor said, give it to your dad. Now, at this point, I think before she gives her the key, she looks up and she sees Barbara and Adam. And Barbara says to Adam, I think that it'll grow sauce.
Yeah. So
she gets the key and she asks, does this open the attic door? And she says, well, that's a skeleton key, right? So it opens everything. She goes up, she tries to get in, and Adam pushes the key with a screwdriver, right? And this is where the Maitlands go and says, well, we need something. We need something to help get rid of these people. We want these people out the house. And I don't remember if Adam said anything or Barbara, but they said, well, in case of an emergency, we need to, it's Adam. We need to draw a door. So he draws a door.
Yeah.
Puts a knob on it and knocks 3 times. And it kind of opens up. When it opens up, it does like a spooky green light. And it comes out the keyhole where Lydia is out there. So she's like mesmerized. And they disappear, and she actually goes into the attic, and
because she pops it up with the screwdriver.
Yes,
to find the little model town, and
she finds the model town, and she finds that book. And remember, she's like an emo. I'm so alone. I'm deaf, blah, 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 blah. So that's
so this is right up her alley.
Yeah, and also before they actually go and do the door, we have another a first glimpse of Beetlejuice, right? They see him at the
TV
doing his
cowboy,
like the cowboy thing.
But you could tell then too that he's actually in the model with the fake grass,
with the fake grass, and the fake and everything. So again, it goes back to the model, and they go to a waiting room.
Yep. I love the depictions of how all of these people died, and also like Tim Burton. You know how the effects look cheesy now. They look cheesy back then because Tim Burton specifically wanted it to look more practical, and he wanted it to look like the B-movie stuff that he saw when he was a kid. So this was a choice on his behalf. Like, he wanted it to look like this.
Yeah,
and the guy who did all the set decorating and the makeup and artwork and everything, he won an Academy Award for it, first and foremost. Second of all, he actually worked with Burton on Batman Returns as well.
Yeah, I would say the Tim Burton aesthetics is something that was basically, he had a movie prior to this, right? Like a short film. I think he did like a short film that
the big one that got him notoriety and got him so he actually could make films was Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Okay, but I would say the Tim Burton aesthetic actually was born with this movie. So the Tim Burton aesthetic for me is first of all goth, very much goth, not like goth in German goth, but I'm meaning goth as we know it today. So like we said, emo, industrial, all that stuff. The frizzy black hair or frizzy hair, because this is Beetlejuice, he's got white hair, but the frizzy black hair, the black eyes or something that reminds the black eyes or a skull, a white face or a very pale face, and black or black and white garments. So we have the Beetlejuice suit that we only see one time. We'll only see one time, and that's like and it's that iconic. That's the iconic Beetlejuice suit. You only see it one time, which is very odd. But I will get to the aesthetics. It really very much. It shines very much at the end scene.
Well, and also too, all of it is super campy.
Oh yeah.
It is so campy.
Yeah.
So
now remind me, because when I watched it, it went over my head, but it was at the back of my mind. When exactly in the movie somebody says, like, it's a passing line that people who committed suicide are the civil servants of the afterlife.
It was Otho at the dinner. He goes, "Oh yeah, well, because they're talking about the ghosts." Yes.
No, I think it's this dinner.
It's the dinner party.
It's the dinner party. Okay.
Yeah, because well, people who commit suicide, they're civil servants in the afterlife.
Yeah,
which is funny because they actually end up being, as they show depicted here, they actually are civil servants.
Yeah. I want to get another shot of this room. It's a little difficult. There we go. So they're still in the waiting room, right? And there's the guy who was burned. I love I don't know why. I love this.
It's so fucking hilarious. So it's like
he offers
a cigarette.
Yeah, I'm trying to quit myself.
I'm trying to cut back myself.
And that's like, I think 88 is where they started to advertise against smoking because of lung cancer. Do you remember the old Yul Brynner? There was a Yul Brynner infomercial, like a PBS, I think, infomercial. No. That he's like in his dying days around 85, maybe, I don't remember the exact year, but it was around the 80s, where he says, well, this is bad for you, you'll get lung cancer, that sort of thing. And it actually came over here. I've seen it a few times back in the day. But yeah, the whole non-smoking bit was really big at the end of the 80s, and it appears in several movies, actually. People were saying, I'm trying to cut back.
Yeah. Well, and smoking had been such a big part of cinema for since the dawn of cinema.
Yeah.
But then now you get to see all the civil servants that were,
yeah, that's the room where they're being accompanied by a guy who got run over. So he's flat.
So how do I look?
Yeah, how do I look?
You look fine, like, because I've been feeling a little flat. And then he goes through that little slot in the wall.
There's a slot in the it's for files, and it says files with a line on it. It's so funny, man. There's like a few one-liners in this movie where it's like, oh, I get you. I got you. So good. Like we're talking about a dark situation here, but with a little bit of humor. But I like the this is makeup. This is actually good makeup and lighting. Mm-hmm. Good makeup and lighting to like make her look like a ghost, but she's not really. Mm-hmm. It's very practical. I like this. This whole room is pretty fine. So one more shot of that room. So they've got like papers running everywhere, and the guys who are like got hung because they committed suicide. They're like they're moving papers from here to there, and they just there's it's a half a second where the guy who's hanging is like throws a paper and it literally lands on the floor, not really on anyone's desk. Mm-hmm. It's sort of a good take. Now I want to get to, like I said, the Tim Burton aesthetic, and this is a part of it.
Oh, the black and white room, yeah, where they're trying to take the sixth door on the right, and they're walking through.
Yes, they're walking through this, and they see like there's a window, and it kind of opens up when they passed it, and they've got a few souls there, and there's a janitor that sells. This is what happens to souls that have been exorcised, and it's like death for the dead. And he tells them to move on. But what I want to talk about, one of the things that I love is the weird angles. You see the weird angles of the corridor.
Oh yeah.
Plus the floor has it's not only tilted, but it's not flat. It has like ups.
It's
and
tilted,
downs.
Curved. Yeah.
And plus it's not only do you know there are certain rooms in like there are like science museums where you see a room and it's actually very small, but they put mirrors in it so it looks very big.
Yeah.
And this one they actually built a like weird corridor. This is full to scale. You can go from that red door to the front of the camera, and it's super scaled. Yeah. So you can tell by the height of Gina Davis and that door. Mm-hmm. Right.
What's funny is also too, they actually had a model of that when I was at Universal Studios, and that one shot that I showed you of the Beetlejuice live action show. They had that corridor as a setup so that you could walk through. That was just, again, that's really, really cool when you got to see that when I was a kid. But I do like that MC Escher-esque aesthetic of the afterlife, and how every single one of those doors is clearly leading to someone else's afterlife. Like even in that shot you saw, there was a little doghouse.
Yeah, for sure. So they open up a door and they like, oh, this is so weird, and they realize it's their
this is our house.
but it's remodeled because we're looking at late 80s yuppie situation. Plus, you got that big screen with all the statues behind it. It kind of reminded me of a Zen garden, but with fucked up statues.
This is, again, Otho is not good at his job because, oh my god, that everything clashes. Like nothing works together. Like the walls are painted that weird like slate gray color that doesn't make any sense. So again, like this is it like you got the almost the tatami, the Japanese, the aesthetic in the background with the slats.
The room I'm looking at the room behind them.
If you
remove the statues, it almost looks like a Zen garden because you can't really tell about the flooring, but it's supposed to be pebbles, I think. And everything is just loud in that room.
It's it's garish. That's what it's garish.
Very, very garish. So they meet Juno, their caseworker. She kind of explains to them, look, it's up to you. If you want to get out of the house, you need to be creative and just do the thing.
Get him out of the house,
and they bring up, what about that Beetle guy? And she says, don't say his name. And she gives them a little bit of information, but not enough. She just tells him he's a bad guy. He doesn't work well with others, and just don't mess with him. That's it. Like don't do any more mistakes.
Don't say his name. Also, like she does mention then that he was her assistant, but he was too overzealous and went a little bit off the rails.
Yeah. So we know there's a history there. Again, she doesn't really elaborate what he's done in the past. Just the fact that he's a little bit off, a little bit crazy. You don't want to mess with him. Which is we found out later that you don't really want to mess with him. So we've got the dad who wants to bring his former boss there because he wants to show him how relaxing it is, blah blah blah. And the Maxie, who's played by Robert Goulet, is like, oh, that's fucking idiot. I mean, I'm not gonna go there.
Those what a putz.
Yeah, what a putz. Yeah, what a putz. She's basically a fucking dickhead. And she's like, I it's a scene that I don't understand. Why does he want him to be there? Real estate. What do you want to sell the yuppies? There's no substance there. I mean, it kind of reflects on something later that he picks up the whole town, but you don't.
I think in a way it's also kind of showing a little bit of character motivation for the Dietz father in a way, where it's showing that he is a successful man, but he's still striving to get approval from someone or something in a way. But in a way, never mind. That's coming up in a second. The sheet scene. Never mind.
Before the sheet scene. All right, we're gonna go to the first segment of the night. Every single week, or every time we do these podcasts, I bring this segment up, which I love the most, I think, of all of them. What I do is I bring in a few posters that have got their text, movie posters that have got their text cut off, or a promotional poster that came up in one of the cinemas, and I present it. And of course, my feelings and the chat, when the chat is here, we'll try and find out which movie is this. So, and of course, I've had to cut short the length of this segment due to being running out of posters. Right.
Well, it also, they're getting a lot more difficult because you're getting more and more obscure every week.
I promise you'll get at least 5 out of 10 on this one.
Okay.
At least. All right.
Okay.
All right, let's do this.
Is that 48 hours?
48 hours.
Oh God.
Oh no! Stomped on the second one. Okay.
Nope.
This is
Goldie
Bird
Hawn
on
and
a Wire.
Bird on a Wire. Wow.
Bird on a Wire. If you haven't seen this movie, it's
Never seen
so
it.
good. Ooh, that's a good one.
It's the a nuke gets stolen. It's on a train. Shit.
It's not on a train.
It's on a train. Well, I don't. It's a stolen nuclear weapon.
It's a stolen nuclear weapon.
Drawing a blank.
It's one after Face Off.
Yeah.
Broken Arrow. It is the code name. It's a code name for
That's Con Air.
That's Con Air. Magnificent movie.
Mel Gibson and Julia Roberts.
Forgotten film.
Yeah, really forgotten. No.
Conspiracy Theory.
Wow. Demolition Man.
Which is on the list.
Yeah. Holy shit. It's not Street Fighter, but that's Jean-Claude Van Damme, and that's Dennis Rodman.
That's not Street Fighter, no.
It's not Time Cop.
No. Who's the other guy?
That's Dennis Rodman.
Yes.
But
also the still buffed yet not face changed Mickey Rourke.
Commando.
Not Commando. Wow, stomped again. Yes.
Yeah.
I thought you would get this. The only thing this
is like, well,
you know why I picked this, especially after Demolition Man, because Wesley Snipes had a platinum blonde in that one. And
yeah, I know the same aesthetic. Yeah, I know.
It's very same aesthetic. I specifically put one after the other because of that.
No, go ahead.
It's Double Team.
Double Team.
Yeah,
well, that's one of like Jean-Claude Van Damme's random films out of fucking nowhere that nobody knows.
I know. There's a lot of them, by the way. I can give you like 7 posters that you will never know the name of that movie.
Oh yeah, I know.
And I'm not talking about Kickboxer or Bloodsport.
Yeah. Or Time Cop.
No, Time Cop you'll get.
Now, all I'm thinking is the Austin Powers. Who throws a shoe? The riff on that.
You are not very far.
I know this is obviously a Sean Connery Bond film, but I have never been a big I know I'm gonna get crucified for this, but I'm not a big fan of Bond films. Never have been.
It's okay. It's fine.
I'm
not a fan of slasher movies, so. No, this is not Die Another Day. This is actually Goldfinger.
Goldfinger, okay.
Yes, and in this movie, a lot of the quotes or a lot of the most famous lines in this movie have been transferred to other movies in references. Austin Powers is very much. If this is the movie where they take a lot of the lines from, it's like I expect you to die, Mr. Bond. It's the guy who throws the hat to kill. It's called he's called Odd Job,
right?
Yes,
Odd Job. Yeah. Oh, Heat. Good movie. That's JFK.
That's a phenomenal movie, by the way.
It's a really great movie. But the whole scene where Kevin Costner says back and to the left for about 5 minutes straight, it's like,
yeah,
Oliver Stone, move on, man.
It's a movie that scene with the magic bullet scene is a scene that they took to Seinfeld and made it much better. Have you seen that scene?
Mm-hmm.
You can like take Seinfeld and throw it out the window. Take that scene after watching that movie from Seinfeld and do it. It is so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny. It's way better than the one in the movie. But yeah, it's
back and to the left, back and to the left, back and to the left.
Exactly.
You get it.
Right. So Barbara and Adam try to find special ways to scare the Dietzes. So first they go to the husband, who he just finished up the phone with Maxie Dean, and he was like, he hears like the sounds, and he opens the door, and Barbara's there, and no, Adam is there, and with the sheet, and he's not impressed, and he says, Lydia, don't try and scare me. And like I was on the phone with Maxie Dean, and just get out.
No,
and
then also your stepmother's gonna.
No, he closes the door.
Those were $300 sheets.
He closes the door and then he opens it. Your mother's gonna be furious when you get. It's like an added bonus, and then close the door. It's like. And Barbara says to Adam, "Look, this is ridiculous. What are we doing? Like,
we have to moan more.
Yeah, we have to moan more." And they go into Delia's room, and they try and shout and scream. And all she does is like wakes up, shuts the TV down, and just goes back to sleep. And they go out, and they make so much noise that Lydia is waking up, and because
Lydia thinks that they're having sex.
Yeah, she bangs the thing. It's like, oh, stop doing your weird sex games. I'm just
I'm just a child.
I'm just a child, for Christ's sakes.
And when she walks out into the hall, she goes, "Okay, listen. If you guys are gonna do your weird sex stuff, at least keep it to your bedroom." Because she just sees these two figures covered in sheets.
She goes out and she's like, she has this fast acting Polaroid. I've never seen.
Oh yeah, I've never seen the fast acting Polaroid. No.
Yeah, I know, like the one and done. Like, and it goes out, and it's very, very slow, and not going like phew, phew. Never saw that, but okay. For the story, I get it. And so it's like, oh, you sexual perversions, you keep that to yourself. And then she goes out, she lifts one of the things, and she's like, oh, no legs.
No, because she looks at one of the photos and she sees that there's no legs there.
Yeah.
So she's like, wait a minute. It's like, wait, didn't I see you before?
Yeah. Are you the? She says like, are you the ghosts from upstairs? Are you the guys from
people
upstairs?
In the attic,
like,
yeah.
And Adam is still trying to be in character. Like, we're ghosts. I was like, oh, are you in there? How much are you like have like blood and pus in there?
It's like, and are you like Night of the Living Dead? It's like, what is that? Because they don't even know what the reference is.
Yeah, they're so wholesome. They don't even know like horror films. That's just fucking funny. It's so good. And she takes everything off, and it's like, how? And Adam asks her, how much? Why can you see us?
See us.
And she actually says, like I said at the beginning,
like,
where
well, I read your book, and according to this, it's like, you know, most humans can't understand strange things, but I'm always been strange. So,
now remember the exact line. The exact line is like, the living disregard the strange and unusual. I myself am strange and unusual. And you can literally see, I'm not even joking, if you ever see Tim Butron in real life, he looks exactly like that, but in male form and with crazy fucking hair.
Well, yeah, that's why he was with Helena Bonham Carter for so long. I mean,
and she looks exactly like him.
Like, even go back to Fight Club, Marla, exactly like that.
Yeah, look, I'm gonna turn it back on. Yeah. This is Marla. This is Marla with straight hair. That's it. If you put a frizzly hair on it, that's fucking Marla. right? So the aesthetic actually keeps with, well, Tim Burton didn't do Fight Club, but that's his company.
What one line I do like that Lydia says to them goes, "Yeah, you can moan all you want. You're not going to wake her up. She had a date with Prince Valium."
Yeah,
I was like,
she's
that's
sleeping.
Clever.
She's sleeping with Prince Valium tonight. I was like, oh yeah, we get it. Like as a kid, if you see this as a kid, like 12, 13-year-old, you wouldn't know what's going on with that line. But as an adult, it's like, I know what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
That was nice. Wow, chef's kiss there.
Yeah, that was again, one of those lines where it's a throwaway line, but it's
so good,
so well written, so well written. So, yeah, she leaves. She says, "Well, you're not gonna scare the Dietzes off. Like you don't know the Dietzes. They never leave a property.
They're never gonna leave it.
Yeah, they're never gonna leave. And they're pretty desperate. And Barbara's like, how about the Beetlejuice guy? Beetlejuice. And Adam kind of encouraged her to go the extra step. And she says Beetlejuice. And they're literally transported into the model. Mm-hmm. And it was like, so where is he? How can we find him? And they turn around and there's a giant
Beetlejuice, and then the big tombstones are like, here lies Beetlejuice.
Yeah. And they're looking at it. It's like, how are we gonna get him out? And literally a shot of 2 shovels fall down. It's like, I guess we have to dig then. And this is where the practical effects are.
Oh yeah, it's brilliant.
They start digging. They remove the little the grass, the fake grass.
Underneath it is that like that stucco, almost like
stucco cardboard thing, and they start like putting it away. When they start digging towards it, and when you see them inside the grave, and when they chuck stuff out, it's literally like plaster and cardboard. Chunks of cardboard and plaster. Mm-hmm. Phenomenal, so good. It fits. It's practical. It fits what it's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. It's a minute detail, but it does it for me. It actually does it for me. So they uncover Beetlejuice, and he comes in with a flash and a bang. And this is actually this scene with him and them are my most favorite scenes of the whole movie. Not the end, not the middle, not this scene with him. This is my favorite scene of the whole movie, because this is Michael Keaton at his absolute fucking best.
And he is riffing. He is riffing so hard. It is, every single minute of this is just a joy to watch.
Yeah,
it's so great.
Well, I'm going to mention a few things that are out of order, okay? Because this scene is so fast. Unbelievable. So there's a part here, not this particular part, that there's a part here where Adam asks him, "Are you qualified?" And he goes like into his like deadly silent mode. Well, I was attended in I did attend Juilliard.
I graduated from the Harvard School of Business, and I watched The Exorcist 166 times, and it gets funnier every single time.
Yeah, it's
and like also so good. I'm fucking dead. I say I'm qualified.
and Adam keeps saying, "Are you scary?" And he's like,
"How about this?
Am I scary? How about this?" Blam! And we don't see it, and that's the best thing.
Oh yeah,
for a fact they have that whatever he does, they have it on the other side. You see only the tentacles from the back of his head. But I'm positive there's a front to that is actually there.
That they did, but it works so much better.
It works way better when you don't see it and it comes out, and both Maitlands are like, "Whoa."
Yeah,
because they're a wholesome couple. They haven't seen that shit, right?
Well, also this scene also shows what an absolute just degenerate Beetlejuice actually is. How he's constantly, he's hitting on Barbara. He's trying to pull up her skirt. He kisses her right off the jump.
Yeah, he is absolutely he is being detestable on purpose.
Yeah,
and the.
Oh, the sandworm line.
No. This is where it is. He's like, they're like, okay, we're leaving. Adam says we're leaving, and he like grabs him. He's like, dude, we're shopping at the same store. And as soon as he says that, he cops a feel or tries to cop a feel.
Yeah.
And they're like, they wanted to leave, and he looks at her like shoulder or hair or something like. Oh wait,
so you've been to Saturn.
You've been to Saturn. Sandworms, you hate them, right?
Yeah, right.
Because there is a scene where Barbara goes out. There's a scene where Adam goes out and he sees the worm, but not the face. And after that, there's a scene where Barbara's being very frustrated and she tries to leave, and she actually sees the worm come out with the two heads and maybe trying to get him, and she punches. It's not really good, but she actually punches the sandworm.
Yeah, that's also that scene we did kind of skip over because we're going a little quick today.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's a little.
He grabs Adam at the back, and he's literally wearing the same outfit that Adam has. Yeah. It's like, it's so good. And to get out, they don't know how to get out. And Barbara's like, home. And it's like, out. It's like, what are you doing? No, it's like, Barbara, how did you do it? It's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And
this is the setup for the dinner party comes up.
Yes.
Yeah.
The dinner
which is still, I think, probably my favorite scene in the movie. I love the dinner party.
It's my second favorite.
It's so good.
So the whole point is, Adam is like, I have an idea.
Yeah.
And cut to this dinner party where Delia's manager is coming in. We've got his companion plus another girl who may or may not be Otho's companion. We don't know.
She knows Otho anyway.
Yeah, she knows Otho. I think the manager knows Otho as well. He kind of snipes him a little bit in this dinner party. And we've got these, it's supposed to be shrimp cocktails, but it's not shrimp, it's prawn.
They're like,
if it was
prawns.
It was real, it's like
real.
An immense prawn, but kind of looks believable. I don't know. They never looked believable to me. I never knew what they were until a very later age. You have to realize, I grew up in a country where shellfish is forbidden to eat.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So I never knew I never knew what shrimp is or prawns or that, like at a much later age. So yeah, we got this dinner.
Yeah.
And they're discussing paranormal activities and the fact that Lydia saw ghosts, and Delia is not having none of it. It's like, stop talking about it. Let's talk about something else. And she's like, no. At first, she tries to signal to the dad. It's like, please change the subject. Change the subject. And he's trying to give a toast, and Otho keeps at it. And Delia says, well, just let's skip. I'm trying to get to that spot. Come on. I can't do it. So it reaches the thing. She's like, pauses, and then she goes, damn. She goes into the Harry Belafonte song, and everybody's looking at her was like, what are you doing? And the dad actually looks behind he looks under the desk.
That's just like, are you
table? Like,
well, because it's obviously it's not her voice singing it either.
Yeah.
It's Harry Belafonte singing this. And so it's like,
yeah.
How is this? How would you even be doing that? What?
The whole point is that something I noticed when you're watching critically, you notice things that you haven't noticed before.
Mm-hmm.
Winona Ryder is laughing her ass off.
Yeah.
She is laughing her ass off. Like the shot is of the dad looking behind the table and Winona Ryder is there. She has a grin from here to here. That means when they did this, it probably took a lot.
Like how many shots? I mean, well, because they lip sync, like Catherine O'Hara again, amazing job of lip syncing.
Oh yeah,
perfectly. Well, they had their own little set choreography. Granted, it's not like a big choreography piece or anything, but it's
they go from
so
side
well done.
to side. They're basically in their seat, but they do have a little bit of lateral movement from side to side and up and down. So they go, some of them go up, some of them go down, and they go back again. So they do like this.
Yeah.
Right. And it seems like at times she's like, you could tell she's into it. She's into singing that song. So she closes her eyes. She does like this, right? She's like, her body moves like she's enjoying it. I mean the actress. Looks like she's enjoying it, and from our perspective, she looks like she's into it. So it works, and it kind of now it's gonna. I'm going to play it, and because at times they break off, so they seem like they're enjoying it.
They're being controlled while they look like they're enjoying it, but when they regain control, it's more like a sudden, it's more like what is going on?
Yeah. The thing is, Catherine O'Hara actually looks good doing it. The dad character at times seems like he's enjoying it. Otho and the companion.
Otho grabs the bucket, the wine bucket, dumps it, and starts
playing on it
like a bongo.
Where he's enjoying it, and suddenly it's like he breaks off. It's like, what the hell am I doing here?
Yeah,
it's so good. And so there's a big number, and then they literally pull their chairs in as if they're going to sit down for dinner. And they dump their head in the cocktail, and then they basically face hug her.
Yeah.
And they get thrown out. And the fact that you have like these hands that go like this, and the sound is like as if it's like live worms or something.
Well, then I love the fact that right after that, like Adam and Barbara are elated, like we got him. They're terrified now, but no, all the dinner party guests is like, this is amazing.
They go upstairs and they look out the window. It's like any minute now they're gonna run out screaming. Any minute now. Yeah. All right. Nothing happens, and we cut down to the people below, and they're having the time of their life. Why haven't you told us about this before? And look at these pictures, and we've got ghosts, and this is amazing.
It was the father, the Dietz father, who's just like, it felt like I was on an amusement ride. This was amazing.
Yes. And immediately his like business mind, like, it clicks
how can I capitalize on this?
Yeah, how can I capitalize on this? And he says to Lydia, it's like, what why haven't you told me about this? I mean, what's this and that?
Like, I tried to tell you about the ghosts before, but no one would listen to me.
Exactly. So, and the Dick Cavett character, the manager character, he gets up at some point, and I love that part. So he gets up and says like, "Oh, I've suffered a lot because of Delia's stupid artwork. So I want to handle this and get a handle of this." So being a typical manager that does absolutely nothing but takes his own cut kind of deal. and he basically says that he's like, he doesn't really believe it. And Delia's like, what just happened? What? And he basically is like, you're being a full of shit, and this is like a hoax. And they leave, basically. They just leave. But Otho says, well, now we can get Maxie Dean to be interested. Now we can get your former boss to come here and check this out, because his wife is really into the paranormal. I don't think it's this particular point, but in a later scene, he does say that.
Yeah.
That sparked the thing. So they go up to the attic. They're trying to get in, but they get in. They see the model, but there's no ghosts. So the manager's like, "Oh, it's a hoax." Blah 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 blah, and they leave. That's what made him leave. But dad sees the model, and sees the whole town, and that's when Otho says, now he can get Maxie Dean to be interested in this, because there's something for him to see. Plus, his wife is into the paranormal, so
yeah. Well, it's also the funny scene, like where people would act like, well, why the hell did Adam and Barbara hang themselves out of the window where they're hanging on to the ledge there? It's like, oh, because Lydia was there and Lydia can see them. That's why they actually hid. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been a big deal, because no one else believes they exist.
Exactly.
They're starting to believe they exist, but they can't see them.
And it harkens to the fact that the living can see the dead if they believe in it, basically.
Yeah, like basically, if they're open.
And at this point, it doesn't really matter if Lydia is there or not, because they've already seen the pictures.
Yeah,
they've already experienced that experience, so they believe. So if Adam and Barbara would have been there, they would have probably seen them, because they believe, right? And at this point, when they're leaving, Otho finds the book.
Yes, the handbook.
And he picks up the book and he like takes it away and hides it.
Yep.
Yeah, right. So Beetlejuice says, well, the fucking amateurs, I'm going to show them how it's done. And he basically scares the Dietzes away. Not away, but they're scaring the whole family away,
because he turns that entire banister into a giant snake.
A giant snake with the Beetlejuice head in it, and it scares the mom. It scares Otho. He picks up the dad and he drops him like from the top, not top, but against the top story. He's not really severely hurt, but again, not nice. And Lydia is being afraid, and she sees Adam and Barbara like coming to the rescue. And they say Beetlejuice to call him over. And Lydia's like, why are you doing this? And she runs away. And they're pretty pissed because they didn't want this to happen. And they go out to the model, and Beetlejuice is there, and he like fucks them off, and Barbara kind of picks him up, and he turns into a thorn.
Oh yeah,
and thorns up. Yeah, he pricks her. I don't know how that happens, but he actually hurts her. I don't know what that is.
How that ectoplasm on ectoplasm violence exists, I guess.
For the story, it kind of works. You don't actually, when you see it for the first time, you don't really think about it, because you're instinctively thinking, well, if he turns into a thorn, it must have hurt her, but they're both dead. So they can't feel anything. Yeah, he can't feel anything. So he comes in and is like, ooh, feeling anxious here, and he like, there's a red light, and he turns around, and it's a whorehouse.
It was Dante's Inferno?
Yeah, Dante's Inferno.
Yeah, which is like, that's a funny little side joke that Tim Burton put in there too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. So he goes out to the thing, and Barbara's like, Adam, why did you put that there? And he says, I didn't.
Like, I never built that.
Cut to they're back in.
They get pulled into the afterlife.
Yeah, they turn into the afterlife, into Juneau with an office full of football players. And
coach, where's the men's room?
Yeah, where's the men's room?
I'm not your coach. He survived.
Yeah. That's a small little detail. You don't know which football team it is. You don't even care. It's just, it's like a comical relief at that point.
Dumb stuff, yeah.
And as soon as they walk in, she says, "Come in, sit down." I was the one that put the whorehouse in
there because I knew it'd
busy.
Distract him, yeah.
Yeah, you're doing all these mistakes. You should take care of it. You should frighten them. Just do what you need to do. And at the time, they said, "Oh, just give me your best, like, frightening face." And Barbara turns her face out, and Adam takes his, like, finger in and all that stuff. And at the time, I was like, and it always bothered me, this scene, until I got to being critical. They put on a frightening face, but up until this point in the movie, they keep telling us that they can't see the dead. So how would a frightening face would scare them off?
Well, now they believe that in them, so now
that I've seen it critically, they believe that they're ghosts, so they're probably going to see them. But I'm not sure that would scare them off. So but by the way, going to their door again to go to their house, they're already discussing that they've kind of made peace with the fact that the Dietzes are going to stay.
It's just like, yeah, we can live with them. The one little last bit is I love the football player at the end of that scene where he walks into the office and goes, "Coach, I don't think we survived the crash." And Gina goes, "What gave you that idea?"
Yeah. So while the Maitlands go to the door, so in the afterworld, we got a couple of scenes. One with the Dietzes and Otho, and there he's like, "I know just as much about the afterlife as I do about interior design."
Yeah,
and you can tell the dad's face. It was like, "What did you just say?" And Delia's like, "I don't care." Delia doesn't give a shit. But the dad is like, "What?" He has a face. He doesn't say anything about that. And Otho said, "I will, if you persuade me, I'll make sure Maxie Dean has something to see."
Yeah.
Basically.
Oh, well, yeah, I could help you if I'm given the proper motivation.
Yeah, the proper motivation. Exactly. And
he's a real piece of shit.
Yeah, he's a real piece. He is absolutely a dumb fuck. And the next scene is something that is absolutely glorious.
Now, this is the scene with Winona Ryder and
this is
Beetlejuice, right? Yeah.
This is emo to a T.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God.
She's wearing the all black. She's got that funeral kind of hairnet on her face, and she's like, "I'm alone. No, wait. I am utterly alone." And I was like, at this point, you know what I was doing? I was doing, yes.
Oh my God. I cut myself. The edge was so sharp.
The edge was so sharp.
It was so edgy. So edgy.
Oh my God. And I was like, oh yeah, she is so edgy. It's not that she's alone. She is utterly alone. Lydia is like, I want to die. I just want to die. I want to go into the afterlife. I want to join Adam and Barbara. It seems so easy, right? It seems so easy when you're dead. And she goes upstairs to talk to them, and they go out the door, and she meets them, and she gets frightened by them. She actually gets frightened by them for a split second, right? Mm-hmm. As they come out with looking like, whatever. Hold. Yeah. Oh, come on. It's so hard. So hard to capture that specific
It might be
point.
easier to catch them in the
office,
if you want to catch that scene
No, she comes in. It's before they come in the door. She comes into the attic and she meets Beetlejuice
because she's trying to find them.
She's trying to find him, and she's trying to die. And he's like, well, there's a quid pro quo. You want to help me? I want to get out. Blah, blah, blah. We can do something with them. And he says, well, I'll help you, but you have to say my name 3 times. And she's like, what's your name? It's like, I can't tell you. But we can do charades.
And
I was like, all right. He's trying to like turn her around, but he can't really say turn around, and he gets frustrated and it's like turn around and see behind you, and he just turns around.
It's actually like manifests a little beetle, like beetle, like
and she gets the name and she's like, your name is Beetlejuice. That's twice. Good. Go one more time. And as she comes to say it, and the Maitlands come through the door, it's like, whoa. And when they literally tell her, don't say the name. Mm-hmm. And she gets real frightened from their look. And she tells them, look, I want to die. I want to be with you. It's much easier. And they tell her, look, it doesn't get any easier. Mm-hmm. We know all about that. And when the sentence comes in, we know all about that. Adam actually like gets most of his face, but not the full nose. So he's got like
because she laughs.
The Bergerac nose.
Yeah.
And she scoffs at it. She actually scoffs at it, and
he pops his nose.
He does like this. And as soon as he pops his nose, the dad and Otho come in and pick up the desk, and Lydia hides at this point, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
The dad doesn't see it. They all hide. Yeah, they all 3 of them just hide. I just had a quick look. I don't know why Lydia hides, but whatever. Maybe she doesn't want to be seen talking to the ghosts.
Yeah.
And
I think her being up there would give it away that the ghosts are actually there, that she's talking to them, and she doesn't want them to know that the ghosts are there.
Could be.
She's still trying to protect them in a way.
I would say so. Maybe. So she goes downstairs. She sees Maxie Dean and the dad. The dad is doing a whole presentation about where everything comes in, a paranormal museum, blah, 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 all that stuff. And he tries to sell basically the property to Maxie Dean.
Yeah.
And Maxie Dean is like
having
none of it. He's like there in typical Robert Goulet stoic fashion. He's like this. And the wife is really keen on having those ghosts. And the dad, he sees Lydia comes in. He's like, Lydia, like, produce the ghosts. And she says, well, they don't really want to show up. And they kind of, they've accepted the fact that you're living here and they don't want any trouble. And the dad says, well, that's disappointing. But Otho, they turn to Otho, and Otho says, I can produce them. Basically, he says, I can produce them. Yeah. And he comes up with the book. And Lydia kind of realizes that something's off, I guess. They start to do the chants, right?
Which is basically what they're doing, is they're doing the exorcism, which is a callback to them being in that hallway. Yes. When they see when the windows open, they see the room of lost souls, where basically, yes, if they get exorcised, that's where they're gonna go. And the Otho then just basically he summons them forward.
Yeah, Otho thinks he summons them, but he actually performs the exorcism on them.
Yeah.
So they have the Ozzie and Harriet clothing coming back into play.
Yep.
So
the wedding dress and
the bride.
Tux. Yep.
They see the body kind of fills in with the bride, and she comes up. She floats around. But immediately she starts to degrade, being old. And then Adam pops in, and you see the and the upstairs, Barbara kind of disappears, and then Adam starts to disappear as well. They go down and they wake up, and Lydia's like, "You're killing them, Otho." Oh, she doesn't say his name, but you're killing them. And Otho's like, I don't know. Well, and even Delia is kind of concerned. Where Delia, like, Otho, what's going on?
Yeah, the father tells Otho, "Stop it. We never wanted to hurt them or kill them." And Otho's like, "I can't stop it," because again, he has no idea what the fuck he's doing.
Yeah, exactly. And Lydia goes to the last resort, Beetlejuice, and this is where we see Beetlejuice with the iconic suit. Yes, it's the only time we see him in this iconic suit.
Yeah. And so and basically, like, he tells her, well, you know, I can save them, but you're going to have to do me one more favor. When I get out, I want to stay out forever, and the only way to do that is for me to get married.
Yeah. And she's like, okay, just help them, because at the end of the day, she's a older teenager, so 15, 16-ish.
I would say probably 15 or 16, 16 at most. I mean,
and
she's definitely not old enough.
Yeah, she's not old enough. So she's acting. She's acting impulsively like any other child
would. Yeah. You're giving me a solution to my problem that's immediate right now. I don't care about the repercussions. I want to solve this problem right now.
And it also harkens to the fact that the relationship between Adam and Barbara to Lydia is more of a mother and father to her, more than her own father and stepmother.
Which we'll get to. We'll get to at the end of the movie too.
We'll get to the end, but this is kind of reflects the fact that she kind of has the relationship with them as parents, or as surrogate parents, I would say.
Yeah,
and she wants to save her parents. Yeah, and she was like, okay. Fine. And you go like Beetlejuice. And this is where there's a sentence. You saw it when I flipped over the thing. When he goes out with his like carnival thing, the
test of strength thing.
He goes out of the thing and he goes, "Attention, K-Mock Sharpers." And this is a line I've been using a lot. I don't say, when I go into like chat rooms and stuff, sometimes I actually say, "Good morning, K-Mark shoppers." Nobody understands it. Nobody knows it. Except for the ones that...
It's a reference to a store from the 80s and like up to the... I think they got fully bought out at, I want to say the early 2000s?
They were bought out by 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
They were bought out by 7-Eleven. Which is, they were basically the same store, right? Kmart.
Well, no, Kmart was more like a department store, like where you go
like
to
a
buy
Walmart or Target.
Like a Target, definitely more like a Target than a Walmart. Yeah,
we have way different things here, but
yeah.
So more like a Target, I would say. But they were bought out by 7-Eleven and turned into a 7-Eleven. Not a Target, definitely. Okay, so first to go is Maxie Dean and his wife. They literally watch the show and they test of strength and they get out of there.
Yep.
And
which is funny is they're never mentioned again. Did they die? We don't know.
We don't know. And the good part about this, as soon as he got rid of them, and he's like, he comes out, he's got a great line where he says, he's got a cigarette and he's got like, "This is why I don't do 2 shows a night, babe." It's like,
yep.
So what do we got today? Oh, the Maitlands. He gets like a golf club. He's like, bam, gives him a whole thump and drops him. And they don't actually start to regenerate, I think, right? They don't start to regenerate until much later.
When the marriage ceremony is happening, Adam's jaw falls off when he's trying to say Beetlejuice's name, and Barbara grabs it, puts his jaw back on.
Yeah. But he's like, okay, we finished everything. We finished the Maitlands. Oh yeah, one more thing. He like does a little blink, and the fireplace becomes that sort of a Tim Burton aesthetic, distorted. Like he goes up and a little bit to the side,
and there's
like a weird minister that has like a big skull face.
He does do one thing to Otho. He grabs him and
Otho
he hugs him from behind, and he goes, "Oh no, round boy, you and me are gonna have some laughs." And and he kisses him.
Yeah, he kisses him, and he runs away, and he's like, "Wait!" And he puts a spotlight up on him. So he turns around, and then he goes like, bang, and he pulls away all his clothes, and he has the same suit, but with like very bright
blue.
Very bright. I would say a prom, like a weird prom.
Kind
of suit without the ruffles though.
No, it reminded me of the Jim Carrey suit in Dumb and Dumber without the ruffles.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. That little like the prom suit, I would call it.
Yeah,
and
it's like. Was that supposed to be his torment because he's so into his own fashion that Beetlejuice thought that was an apt punishment for him? It's like, oh no, you get to wear this garish suit. It's like,
yeah, and he
is just murder two people.
He is I mean, Otho is horrified for the fact that anybody would see that particular suit on him, because he's dark.
Well, then he runs off, and then that's the last we see of Otho. So
yeah, that's the last we see of Otho. Okay, and then is like, he goes out. He does the thing with the fireplace. He goes to the Dietz's. It's like mom, dad. Yeah. And he also animates the sculptures to grab Delia and her husband, right? And he's turning to Lydia. It's like, okay, we've got that left. So yeah, we'll do this. And he puts her in this red wedding dress.
Yes, it's a scarlet color. Like it's
bright red. Yeah, it's bright red. And he summons the minister, and he has the tuxedo with the ruffles and the bow tie, but it's fucked up. It's not,
it's plum, but it's fucked up though.
Her dress is immaculate.
Oh yeah,
it's fucked up, but it's immaculate, right? His suit is like withered and real fucked up.
Yeah.
But his hair is straightened back, and it's so funny. It's really made me laugh when I watched it the other day. It's so fucking funny. So Delia and her husband got to get grabbed, and the ceremony kind of starts. But the Maitlands get regenerated again. Adam drops his jaw. He can't really say Beetlejuice, but Barbara gets more animated. So she says Beetlejuice once, and he shuts her mouth with a zipper. She opens the zipper. She says Beetlejuice again, and he's doing like a baseball pitch, and he throws a plate on her face. And she can't really do anything with it, but he also does like this, and he sends her to Saturn, or whatever it is.
Yeah, he sends her to Saturn and to Titan. Actually, that's where it's supposed to take place. It was on Titan.
It's supposed to be Titan. Okay.
Yeah, but then also in the interim, he had also sent Adam up to.
He sends Adam into the model. Yeah, he sends Adam into the model. So Adam takes a car and he starts driving towards Beetlejuice, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we know that Barbara hit the worm from before. There's where she gets there, she turns around and she sees the worm, but we don't see anything anymore, right? We see Adam tries to he opens up the car and drives in, but kind of ends there, where the minister tells Beetlejuice to have the ring, and he's like, "Oh shit, I forgot the ring!" But he actually produces a dead finger with a ring on it.
Goes, and Lydia, she didn't mean anything to me, baby.
Yes, she meant nothing to me. She meant nothing to me. I swear. And Lydia's like, "Ugh, what the fuck is this?" And the ceremony is about to end as Adam hits Beetlejuice in the foot, kind of lights up his foot, and Barbara comes in riding a sandworm and eating Beetlejuice, and that kind of ends it. Both fully regenerated. The Dietzes get freed from the sculptures, and they finally see the Maitlands as they're supposed to be, like basically the time where they're dead.
Yep.
That is basically ends the movie, besides a couple of scenes. So everything is a-okay right now. So we see Lydia kind of goes out from I think it's a Catholic school.
Yeah, it's an all-girls school, but it looks like it's probably a Catholic all-girls school.
It's probably a Catholic old-school girl. Old school. It's an all-girls Catholic school. Never mind. She has a uniform, and she still has that pale face and the same hair, but she kind of loses the circle around the eyes.
Well, that, and also she's actually saying goodbye to saying bye to people, like all the other girls.
Yeah, she has
it seems as though she's more sociable. She's
way more
happy,
social.
like almost well-adjusted teen for what just happened to her.
Exactly.
And so again, she rides the bike back to the house, and the first thing,
and she goes into the house, and the house is being remodeled towards what it used to be. Yeah, back to where it used to be. And Barbara's there, and Adam is there. We don't see the Dietzes just yet. She comes in, she gives them the report card instead of her actual parents, right? Yeah. This is where the surrogate parents comes into full-blown, like, Lydia has basically accepted her as parents, but moreover, they found the daughter or the child that they never had. So they're sort of at peace. They're at peace with the Dietzes there, and also they're at peace with the fact that they're feeling like a family.
Yeah.
So they get a report card. She gets an A. She gets a little bit, I didn't do this and didn't do that. She has like sort of a blemish there, but not really.
I was like, well, she got a C on her science report, and then Barbara says, "Adam, well, you never got an A."
Yeah, I never got an A in science because I think she didn't want to dissect a frog, or is that not a thing?
It was something like that. It doesn't matter, but yeah.
And she said, "Well, can I?" It's like, fine, okay. And they literally go into another number with Harry Belafonte.
Yeah.
Again. She rises up in the air. She
they're doing the dance number.
The dance number. The football players do like a little
they show up on the chairs
on the staircase, right?
How'd they get there? But anyway, but then it does cut to her father.
Yeah, it cuts to her father.
Sounds like he got an A, and she got an A on her math test. That's good.
Exactly.
And then he looks to the side and he goes, "Ah!"
There's the sculpture of Beetlejuice's head when he was a snake.
Yeah. And Dealey turns around and goes, he likes
it.
That's good. Oh man. But no, that's
the music stays, but we go down to the afterlife where you can basically hear the music as sort of an elevator music.
Yeah.
Sort of a waiting room elevator music. Yeah. And Beetlejuice kind of opens up his number because you have to look at the your number to when
first,
you're gonna get.
Again, he's dead again, but the first thing he does is he's the woman that sawed in half. He's rubbing on her leg, like up her thigh, and she turns around and slaps him in the face with her
with a magazine.
Her other half.
And he goes to sit somewhere else, and he says, "Well, what we got here?" And he opens up the thing, and it's like 3 billion, blah blah blah, whatever number. And he looks at his neighbor, the voodoo guy.
It's the African witch doctor guy. Yeah.
And he's like. He
number
has
4.
3 or 4, and the next number is like 3.
3. And he goes, oh, okay. The shrunken head guy's right next to him. He goes, hey, is that your work? That's really good work. He goes, oh my God, it's Elvis. Hey, the king. And he
switches the numbers.
He grabs the 4 number and he throws
his big number
on his
it's like on his lap.
Well, it looks like I'm next.
And the witch doctor is
I got an interview with GQ in the next hour and a half.
Yeah. And the witch doctor pulls like a little powder on his head, and his head is getting shrunk.
Just shrinks down. Yeah.
And as soon as it goes like the minimal size. I got that might be a good
it might be a good look
for me. What?
Beetlejuice, the eternal optimist.
The eternal optimist. Yeah, and that kind of ends everything. That is the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Wow, it took us an hour and a half to get to an hour and a half of movie. Yeah, another hour and a half movie.
Well, we also had the movies, the poster segment in the middle there too. So
yeah, we kind of skipped over a segment, which we'll do right now before we do our summarize. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the next segment is we go to a website called flickchart.com, and we have 2 movies, and we and the chat decide which one is better, or if one of us hasn't seen it, we kind of wiggle through. So which one is better? What's the criteria? Basically, at the end of the day, Friday night or Saturday night, you want to watch a movie with your pals or your wife or your significant other. Which movie will you pop into the video or just order it on your local streaming service? So, Lincoln from 2012 and The Da Vinci Code. You'll go first.
Lincoln's so good.
Lincoln's so good.
Yeah. Have you ever seen it?
I have not seen it. Not
okay.
Yet. I know it's good. I'm going to pick Lincoln because the Da Vinci Code did a massive disservice to that book. It's very much like the book, still did it a massive disservice.
I have to go
with I would go with Return.
I have to go with Return of the Jedi as well.
Shutter Island is
actually, I think Shutter Island is by far Martin Scorsese's worst film.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's debatable, but I would say, yeah.
Last Crusade.
Enemy of the State is really good, by the way.
Yeah.
American Gangster and Spider-Man 2.
Ooh, American Gangster.
American Gangster, yeah.
Really good movie.
Easy choice. Chasing Amy or Young Frankenstein. Mel Brooks, I would say maybe his best work. Possibly. Very debatable if this one is his best work or Kevin Smith's arguably best work.
I have to go with Young Frankenstein because that's my favorite Mel Brooks film. And Chasing Amy is not my favorite Kevin Smith film.
Chasing Amy is not my favorite Kevin Smith film, but I would say it's his best movie. Yes,
definitely.
I would say Young Frankenstein because for what it is a very, very good movie.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah. Total Recall or Back to the Future 3. For me, it's Total Recall. Even though I'm a massive Back to the Future 3 fan, or Back to the Future franchise fan.
Yeah.
I hope they do never make another one again.
Nope.
Never recast it. Do not do it. They will at some point.
Just let it be.
But I wish they do that.
That's what's
Total
funny.
Recall is so good.
Yeah.
So good.
I was gonna say, get your ass to Mars.
Get your ass to Mars.
Oh, 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah, there's no it's Kubrick.
Yeah.
To Kill a Mockingbird or Perfect Storm. Is there any way you're gonna say The Perfect Storm with Clooney and Wahlberg?
No, it's To Kill a Mockingbird.
To Kill a Mockingbird.
Gregory Peck's probably
Gregory Peck's absolutely best performance. Yeah.
Actually, both of these are kind of underrated sci-fi films. Would you agree?
Yes. Gattaca is the one with Halle Berry.
No, Gattaca is the one with Jude Law with where you can engineer your own children
with Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke.
Yeah.
So Gattaca for me.
I have to go with the Butterfly Effect because I think it's way too underrated. So if you got a coin,
no, I don't. Let's say it's a toss-up. Okay, we did talk about having a guest over, but that's soon to be determined. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's okay.
The ranking, we don't see actually the ranking. So, Contagion, which has become super popular on Netflix a year ago. I wonder why. The Good, Bad, and the Ugly. It's Sergio Leone.
It was the start of the trilogy Western.
From the trilogy, I prefer this one from the other two. It's the longest. It's the most complicated. It's so good. Right. Erin Brockovich, which is one of Mrs. Meff's favorite movies, and Sahara.
I have to go with Erin Brockovich.
So am I.
Yeah. Sahara's not a good
635 blowjobs in 6 days. Now I'm exhausted. GoldenEye, first Pierce Brosnan, and kind of a sort of a reboot.
Yes. Well, it reinvigorated reinvigorated James Bond as a character. And
A License to Kill was 1991 or 1990, and it was kind of flat. It wasn't received very, very well, even though the Bond girl Carrie Lowell is magnifique. It kind of revived the Bond, I would say, even though after GoldenEye, Pierce Brosnan did not do any good Bond movies at all.
What was that movie that he was with the next one with Halle Berry in it?
That's To Die Another Day, I think. And the next one after GoldenEye is the one with Carmen Electra. She's Carmen in Starship Troopers. She was
Denise Richards.
The next one is where Denise Richards supposed to be a nuclear scientist, and she was unbelievable.
She was more believable in Tammy and the T-Rex. I'll put it that way. Yeah.
And The Mask of Zorro, which was supposed to reinvigorate the Zorro genre, which was kind of forgotten.
Which did not. So I'm going to go GoldenEye on that one.
Yeah, I'll go GoldenEye. I didn't like it. Introduced Famke Jensen, which everybody makes a hoopla over. I hate Famke Jensen in anything that she does.
Jensen, yeah. I have to admit, I
have not seen
Devil's
Frances
Advocate. Ha. Yeah, you can go ahead and haven't seen it, but
that's an easy choice.
That's better. Me. But still, I love The Devil's Advocate so much.
I love The Devil's Advocate too. Gran Torino is not a good movie.
I'm a fan of man.
Yeah. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or Bug's Life, which came out. Hidden Dragon, which came out the same year as Ants.
One of them that's why I was like, well,
one of them is a Pixar movie. This one's a Pixar movie, and the other one is a DreamWorks movie.
It wasn't Ants. Didn't that star Woody Harrelson? Not Woody Harrelson. Sorry, Woody Allen.
Ants
Yeah.
Starred Woody Allen
Yeah.
and Sylvester Stallone. And it was so bad.
So bad. Mm-hmm.
So
So
bad.
I'm still going to go with Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yeah, for me too. Yeah. It's easy choice. RoboCop or Pretty Woman? I'm biased. I love RoboCop.
I do too. I have to go with RoboCop.
And last pairing of the night.
Wanton violence.
Conspiracy Theory with all the text, by the way.
Yeah.
All the text and Go.
Haven't seen Conspiracy Theory, so put it under. Haven't seen it.
Okay. We'll switch. That's the beauty of this website. Shrek and Go. Have you seen Go?
Yes.
Long time ago.
I really liked Go at the time, but also I was an angsty teenager.
It did not age well.
No.
Shrek,
on the other hand, I still think ages extremely well, and it also was kind of the forefront in the early 2000s where they were trying to do that push where animated series had more inside jokes for the adults, that subtle subtext humor that was really prevalent throughout all of Shrek in the entire series.
And because I'm going to pick Shrek, and we're going to slightly discuss it just for a brief second. Yeah. What Shrek did at the time, and it was really put DreamWorks on the map.
Yeah,
as
most definitely
Spielberg and company versus Disney and Pixar, right? Mm-hmm. Basically, Steven Spielberg versus Steve Jobs, but Steve Jobs wasn't there at the time. Never mind. There were a lot of jabs at Disney. So they had Pinocchio, the character, and they could have used all the characters that are basically Disney, but they're not Disney really, because they're a Grimm's Brothers fairy tale. So it's up for grabs. It's Hans Christian Andersen. It's, in terms of copyright, it's because it's a folk story.
Yeah,
they're not chained to the Disney character. Plus,
and also you could use allegories and something that resembles that model without calling it that character as well.
Yeah, but Pinocchio, they had to say Pinocchio, and the Big Bad Wolf, they said Big Bad Wolf. And they did have later on the Cinderella and Snow White, but then probably they made some sort of a deal with Disney. They had to, otherwise wouldn't. But in this movie, they had a scene where they took a jab at Snow White from 1938, where she sang to the birds. There's a scene.
She hits that note that's so high.
That note, and the birds kind of explode. And you're not in Disney World here.
Well, it was after that. Wasn't she cooking the remains too? Right after
she was cooking the eggs from the nest because the bird exploded. There's no bird, right?
Well, there's the same thing too, where when was it Lord Fauntleroy, the
Farquaad?
Farquaad. Fauntleroy is a whole different thing. Never mind. but no, Farquaad was looking at the magic mirror, and he goes, "Show me Fiona again," and then he lifts up his sheet and looks down, and then he puts the sheet down.
Yeah.
Again, it's like, oh. Yeah. I get you.
Yeah, exactly. Never mind. We'll maybe cover it at a later date, but it's so chock full of. There's a story, but there's also we're going against Pixar right here. This is our Shrek was DreamWorks line in the sand, I think, but again, we can talk about it at a later date. So Beetlejuice, what do you think? Now critically watching it on the whole, just to summarize everything.
On the whole, I put it up there. I think it is one of Michael Keaton's best roles. I think he absolutely knocks it out of the park. Every scene that he's in, he absolutely steals it. Yeah. and again, there's a titular character, as we mentioned, he's not in the film for that long, but his role is so memorable, and how he portrays that character is so memorable that it just stays throughout the ages. And I did mention to you before how they were going to make that sequel, but the screenwriter for that stopped writing it because he thought it was going to tarnish the legacy of the first film.
A man with principle. I like that.
Yeah,
a man with principle.
A movie that could put that into someone who is, to be fair, at the end of the day, it's a job and it's money. Where he goes, nah, I'm going to stop working on this because I think it would ruin something that's really special. That says a lot. Also, again,
go on.
This being Winona Ryder's second or third role ever.
Third role, yeah.
As a teenager, I think she did an amazing job as a young actress. She's fantastic in this. The only role I didn't like, which we mentioned before, we talked about before, is I don't like Gina Davis in this movie. I think she's a little bit too stilted at times, where it's just like it's too almost blasé. It seems like she kind of took the role for a paycheck. On the other hand, I think Alec Baldwin was great in it, and we gush over Catherine O'Hara in this movie as well because she's phenomenal in this movie.
Because she, for the role that she's doing, she is absolutely believable as Delia Dietz, as what she's supposed to do, how she should act, how she should react to things that are happening all around her. Now, I've got a little bit of an extra.
I was going to say, the animated series, which is crazy. But I was going to say
animated series. Go on.
I was going to say, for Catherine O'Hara, this role, I think, playing Delia Dietz is what really made her shine so well as the mother in. Have you ever seen Schitt's Creek?
I have not. I've heard about it.
I would highly, highly recommend watching it. Because
it's a series, correct?
It's a full series. It's on Netflix. Yeah. It's phenomenal. It's hilarious. You'll really enjoy it. And
also, at times, like there's moments in Home Alone. This very similar reactions, but there's a subtle difference between the mom in Home Alone and Delia Dietz, but they're the same character with different circumstances, I would say.
Yeah,
one is a family, kind of a suburban housewife or suburban wife, and one is a yuppie wife, stepmother, blah, 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 all that tropes, right? The animated series, before we end everything here and we switch over to our short version of Beetlejuice, have you seen this? Because I have.
Yes, I watched the animated series religiously when I was a child, and I love the fact that they make Beetlejuice out to be a good guy throughout the entire series, where he's not this decrepit old pervert creep that's a malevolent spirit at the end of the day.
And in this series, Lydia is actually his sort of a companion. He's sort of I would say a Doctor Who with a female companion.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And they go off on a merry adventure, right? It's so crazy. And the world is very, very much like the Tim Burton style. They keep with the style, but that suit from one moment in the movie, it's very short, is iconic throughout. This is what he wears throughout the series. This actually came, you know what? This was part of a lineup on a Friday afternoon. We had this. After that, we had Animaniacs, and it ended up with Batman the Animated Series.
Which, by the way, my favorite. Like,
so good.
As always, that is my version of Batman.
For me too.
The animated series.
It had the Danny Elfman music with it. They kept it. which is dark, mysterious, in the shadows. Just how I love my Batman.
It's like, that's something that, like, if you have not watched that, go watch it immediately. Watch the entire Batman the Animated Series up until season 4.
So, I'm not sure how many seasons it goes through, but it keeps with the theme of the detective Batman, right?
The real noir feel.
Yeah, the noir feeling to it. As Tim Burton had in the first movie, but moreover in the second one, where it became a little bit more, at times hokey with Penguin, but very dark.
I was going to say, like, don't watch season 4 because that's when they changed it to Batman and Robin, and it goes in the season 4. I've seen it a lot. It's a great fucking series.
Yeah. All right. Before we go, we have our little a little thing here where we sum up the movie with a short version. Let me just bring that up right now. I had to modify it today, which no, I realized it was missing something. Don't worry, you won't even recognize it.
Okay, here we go.
Stop. Short. No, wait. No. Stop. Shit. Oh my God. Can I restart this? How can I restart this? Jeebus Christ. No. Oh. Okay. Wait. I have to put it back on. Hold. And there. All right. Are you ready, sir?
Ready when you are.
Okay, here we go. The short version.
Happy vacation, honey. Watch out for the dog. Handbook of the recently diseased. I will go insane and I will take you with me. This is my art and it is dangerous. In case of an emergency, draw a door. How long have we been waiting here? I myself am strange and unusual. I've seen The Exorcist 167 times and it keeps getting funnier. We even stopped at the same store. Whoa, sandworms. You hate him. I hate him too. Dale. We've come for your daughter, Chuck. Ooh, feeling a bit anxious, you know. Coach, where's the men's room? I know just as much about the supernatural as I do about interior design. I am utterly alone. Turn around and look behind you. What is happening to them? Help them, please. It's showtime. Attention, K-Mock shoppers. I swear she meant nothing to me. Whoa. This might be a good look for me. Oh, I turned you off. Oh, I'm such a boomer. All right, buddy. That is it. Next week, it is The Hot Fuzz.
The best of the Cornetto trilogy.
The best of the Cornetto trilogy. Yeah. Debatable. I'm not debating it. All right. So next week, next Saturday at 10 o'clock my time, 8 o'clock UK, 3 o'clock Eastern, and 12 Pacific. Right?
You got it.
Exactly. Right? We're going to discuss Hot Fuzz, a movie by Edgar Wright, starring Nick Frost and the guy, I forgot his name, the main guy. Nick Frost is the fat guy, small guy, can't remember his name right now. Edgar Wright is the director. Never mind.
I'm not helping you out of this one, buddy.
We'll go off the air without us knowing the name. You can. Simon Pegg, right? Simon, I got pegged. All right. So, by the way, just before we leave, if you want to follow and like and subscribe to this channel, you're more than welcome. Thank you. If you actually got to this point and actually want to like and subscribe, Good on you. Share this around. If you're interested in this, share this around. We're trying to get maybe a guest to come over to have a third perspective, right? Don't know when that's coming. At the moment, it's just me and Oh My Feelings.
Losing you, buddy.
Oh, really? Am I losing? Can you hear me right now? Hello? Hello? All right.
We really need your help, guys, because Meph is slowly turning into a robot right now. As
really?
You can hear.
All right. Oh, it's probably on you. Never mind. So we're trying to get some guests to have
your
a third
connection's
perspective.
Really cutting out, buddy.
Only on your side. It's on you, baby. Anyways, thank you very much for joining us. I'll see you next week.
Okay, Hal.